Conquering Manhood, Session 005.
Conquering Manhood. Command your legacy. Take action. And conquer all.
Welcome to the Conquering Manhood podcast, where inspiration and action taking meets conquering all. I'm your host, Jose Florencio, and welcome to Session 005. When we think about conquering all, our level of fitness has a big part to do with our personal goal of this elusive conquering all. You know, right beside our goals of a lean and chiseled body is also the desire to be successful in our business ventures as well. Today's conversation with our featured conqueror covers all this and more. We talk about becoming lean and chiseled while building muscles, the laws creating an amazing physique, and some success hacks to breaking into the overpopulated world of the fitness entrepreneur. This is right up my alley. But if these are not your goals, this conversation also touches on the principles that can translate into so many aspects of your life. So, stay tuned and listen up. Before we begin, though, let's take care of a little business. If you enjoy this show and want to show your support to the Conquering Manhood mission, please head on over to iTunes and subscribe, rate, and review the show. Right now, we're featured on the new and noteworthy section, and much thank yous and much thanks and much gratitude to you guys. But with more reviews, the more exposure the show will receive and the more people we can impact. So to help promote this, I'm running the manliest giveaway ever conducted, where each week I give out an awesome gift to a subscriber to one of my favorite brands or services. And of course, they're all manly. Stay tuned to the end of the session to catch up what's for grabs for this week's giveaway. To enter the giveaway, head over to conqueringmanhood.com/big8win. That's big, the digit 8, and the word win, all in one word. Now, let's get on with the show. Welcome back, Conqueror Nation, and thank you again for listening. Today's featured conqueror is all about transforming your physique, and through that change, living the life of your dreams. He's the host of the Road to Ripped podcast and the founder of Kinobody.com. Conqueror Nation, I present to you Kinobody Revolution with Greg O'Gallagher. Greg, thanks for coming on, brother.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the introduction.
Absolutely, man. Nothing less. Greg, quick little icebreaker for you, and it's cool to start off that way. So let me ask you this. If you had your human body, but the head of an animal, which animal would you pick?
Dude, I did not even have to think about that. For whatever reason, as you were saying that, I just envisioned a lion on my head. So that's my answer. I would have a lion head.
Okay, that was probably my same answer, and I totally understand why you would pick that. We're cut up from the same cloth, my man.
Nice.
All right, so Greg, here at Conquering Manhood, we like to start off with a success quote or a mantra that sets you off on your journey and has helped you, keep you aligned anytime you feel yourself off track. So why don't you share that quote with us and tell us how you applied it to your life that's brought you to success?
So the quote that kind of spoke to me was like kind of a quote that my father passed down to me. And it is to make no small plans. And what that means to me is really just taking the time to carve out how you want your life to look. I know society, we all like to be realistic and set safe, realistic goals. But the reality is no one really gets motivated for a realistic goal. I mean, are you really motivated to be in decent shape, okay shape? I mean, people don't want to work for that. But when you really just separate yourself from, society and their expectations and just think, how do I want my life to look? What do I want to achieve? And set big goals, goals that motivate you, goals that make your blood boil. And so that's kind of been an important quote to me. And that means striving for the absolute best for what I want as far as training, business, life, relationships.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that quote. Make no small plans. Is that an original from your dad or something he picked up from somewhere else?
It's actually, no, it's actually a quote by I think it was an architect who built incredible buildings. I have to double check that. I should know that. I should know that. Yeah.
No, but that's an amazing quote, and much props to your dad who who imparted that type of knowledge and that mindset on you. That's a powerful thing that's probably propelled you to the man you are today.
Yes, definitely.
All right, Greg. Well, that's amazing to quote, and your life is a living proof of that. And that's why we brought you here, to be a Fit Your Conquered, Conquering Manhood. What we want to do now is discover and talk about, how did you discover your purpose through physical fitness transformation? We want to hear that story, and then tell us how it guided you on your journey.
Yeah. What was the second part to that question?
How did your purpose of physical fitness, how did it guide you to where you're at now?
Yeah, so to me, it's just been such an obvious, clear passion. I know a lot of people are like trying to find out, what am I passionate about? I'm not sure. What about this? What about that? To me, fitness was obvious, absolutely glaringly obvious. Ever since I was a 6-year-old kid and I had action figures, and I was like, shit, this X-Men dude is jacked. Why don't I look like that? Oh my God, I can work out and look like that. Well, I was 6 at the time. Surely I'm not going to get jacked at 6 years old, but there's a point there. Hell, I could do a push-up at 6 years old and then build up to doing 2 push-ups. And so the idea that we had the power to transform our bodies was amazing to me, because I grew up in the 90s. And there's a lot of shows and movies, and it was all about like physicality. I just liked the idea of just having like immense power and athleticism and being strong and muscular and knowing I can handle myself. I think any guy that's growing up, probably likes to feel like they're powerful. They don't want to feel like someone can like take advantage of them or beat them up. So to me, it was all about, developing myself through physical fitness. And the logical course of action was to share my knowledge with people, because, even when I was like 13, I had all my buddies were asking me what workouts to do, this and that. I'd create workouts for my friends. I did my personal training exam like years before I was even old enough to do it. And so the obvious thing was I need to start helping people with this. This is what I should do for a career. And it was like, it was like cool to me, because, I grew up and saw people working office jobs. I'm like, wait, I can help people work out as a living. And obviously I started with personal training, but then it kind of grew beyond that to the point where now I spend my days creating videos and articles and podcasts and working on new courses and answering people's questions and just kind of pouring different knowledge and teachings through different facets.
So go ahead and tell us, for the audience who doesn't know, exactly what it is that you're doing as Mr. O'Gallagher. Who is the man and what it is that you're providing to the world out there?
Right. Well, so for me, I didn't want to create something that's already been done before. I wanted to create something that spoke to me. I wanted to create something that I would want. And at the time, really, if you're looking at you're reading books on fitness and this, or going on online, a lot of the information was either geared to, it was like kind of like 2 different subsets. It was like workouts for athletes. Oh, you're a football player, a boxer, this and that. It's like, how do you work out to improve your sports performance? But then there are also like workouts for like, building muscle and getting big like a bodybuilder. Granted, it's not that easy to build muscle. Like, it's not going to, like, no one's just going to train and then magically get huge. But the point was, they usually promoted the idea of bulking up, and that meant adding a bunch of fat just to have that big effect. So I kind of came into the scene. I was like, well, hold on. Look, if we're being really honest with ourselves, we want to have a physique that's like strong, powerful, but like aesthetic, that looks freaking good. You watch a movie like Troy and you see Brad Pitt on the scene, you're like, damn. Like, he just has that captivity. He just, captivates everyone's eyes and like it's awe-inspiring. And he did that because he wasn't 18% body fat like most people in the gym. He was like 8. And so I come on the scene telling people how to actually get lean and chiseled while still being able to build strength and muscle. Because, people can gain strength and size, but usually they end up getting fat, which is useless. It means nothing. I don't care if you can bench press 350. If you're 25% body fat, it means nothing. Because in the reality is, if you want to have the athleticism, the functionality, well, if you're like overweight, you're not going to be great at sprinting and jumping, which are like 2 really important, human movements. Yeah. And you're not going to be able to propel your body weight, as far as on the bar, doing chin-ups and muscle-ups and stuff of that nature. So if you want to have both aesthetics and athleticism, you have to be lean and strong. And I haven't seen anyone really put that together in a really effective way. So that's what Kinobody is about. It's about how do you have that lean, chiseled look while building strength and muscle and having awesome proportion. Awesome. It's not that hard to build tree trunk legs. If you build up on the squat, you'll get huge legs. It's easy, but how do you add that muscle in an aesthetic way? Get those full rounded delts, that thick upper chest. No steroids, I don't even take supplements. How do we do it naturally? And so that's what Kinobody's been about.
Okay, so you wouldn't call yourself a gifted individual. You would say that you just put in the work and now you're at the physique that you have.
You know what? It's hard to even answer that question. I remember in grade 9, I had friends that were stronger than me. To me, I have no doubt in my mind that if people did what I do, if they had the tenacity that I do, if they had the goal-oriented mindset, if they put in that level of attention, there's no doubt in my mind that 90% of the population could achieve similar results.
Yeah.
But no one does that. No one will do that. No one you go to the gym, no one's tracking their lifts. No one's writing down what they're doing. No one's fine-tuning things to making sure they have that incremental progress every week. People don't know how to achieve results. And they get stuck in all these different workout programs that are just it's absolute crap because it's not designed on the only thing that matters in the gym, progressive overload. How do I get you to start doing How do I get you up to 100-pound chin-ups, incline benching 260? How do I get your strength up there? I mean, powerlifters have it right in a certain way, but, the problem with powerlifting is they focus on movements that they don't develop that aesthetic, and they kind of focus on the really low rep ranges, and if you go too low in reps, the muscle building stimulus isn't there. The key rep range is like that 4 to 10 rep range.
So, Greg, we brought you on because you're inspiring in two ways. You are living proof of the physique that, just like me, we grew up in the same time frame, and we're watching Dragon Ball Z and He-Man and any actor out there that was rocking a good physique, and those things inspired us, right? And Hulk Hogan. But so we brought you on because you're living that fitness lifestyle, but then you're also an entrepreneur, and you're doing Kinobody and your podcast. So what is that like?
Yeah, it's incredible. Well, people that don't know, I dropped out of university. I was at school in Canada for 1 year. I had an idea of how I wanted my life to be, and school was not the path for me. It wasn't the road to my goals. And so I dropped out of school against pretty much, I got a ton of flack from everyone, and I was there to build my dreams. I wanted to create the life of my dreams. I wanted to create, my dream business. I wanted to, teach people about fitness. And so I dropped out of school and started blogging, doing YouTube videos, creating content. When people wanted it, I started to create my courses. And it's been 4.5 years. It's been absolutely massively incredible.
So are you a full-time blogger and podcaster, and you're a content creator, and that's all you do, right?
Yeah, that's my thing, man. And so the business, as far as Kinobody is concerned, it has grown substantially. I remember, because just kind of to preface for a second, I wanted to obviously help people and share my teachings. If anyone goes over to my site and reads the comments, testimonials, they're amazing. But when I started Kinobody, I wanted to build a business as well. And so it was my goal to build a 6-figure business by the time my friends graduated school. And I did that. And then 2 years later, as far as the amount of sales that Kinobody is doing, it's approaching $1 million business.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it's a full-time thing.
Awesome. All right. Congratulations on that. That's big ups to that too.
Yeah.
So if you had to give someone advice trying to follow in your footsteps, what would be one piece of advice that you would give that individual?
It's hard to give one, but I give a couple. The first of which is you don't want to just be the next whoever it is, whoever the person is that you're modeling. You want to kind of create something unique. So just kind of take time to think okay, what's missing here? What would be so cool? Maybe it's a YouTube channel or a site. What would be really cool? What would you want? And try and create something different so people have a reason to follow you and not someone else. That unique sales proposition. Why would someone go onto your site? You don't want to just be the next Gregory O'Gallagher, the next, whoever it is, Muscle for Life, Mike Matthews, this and that. You want to be unique to yourself, because if you're just creating the same stuff, then why would anyone follow you? At the same time, you also want to be focusing on pouring out value to people. The more people you help and reach, the more is going to come back to you. So there's a reason why I've written hundreds of articles and produced hundreds of videos and podcasts. The reason why I've answered probably over 10,000 emails is because I understand that the more that I help people, even free content, the more I'm going to get back as far as people wanting to pursue my courses and so forth. So you have to become a value-giving machine. You have to start to give tons of value and help people, and it will start to come back. And the last piece of advice is this doesn't happen overnight, man. It does not happen overnight. It takes time. It takes a lot of work, a lot more work than you think. So if you don't enjoy it, if you're not enjoying, doing videos and creating articles and answering people's questions, if you hate it, you're not going to succeed at all. So you got to find something that you actually love, and don't focus on how far you have to go. Don't worry about that. Just focus on making that little bit of progress and enjoying the journey.
Boom, there it is. So give value, be original, and just try to be different and look for the void that you're trying to provide, even for yourself. Because if you're feeding yourself out there, there's somebody that's going to resonate with you, and they're going to have the same type of desires that you have, right?
Yeah, there's 7 billion people on the planet. Like, we're not that unique,
All right. So, Greg, can you tell us what is your ultimate mission with Kinobody and your movement?
Yeah, it's a good question, man. I don't know. I struggled to build a great physique and be lean for a long time. Especially the lean part was what I struggled with, getting under 10% body fat and making it enjoyable and having fun. Because for a long time, it just was such a miserable experience. I was in a horrible place, trying to lose fat and just this and that, couldn't stick with it. And so my mission is really to help teach people and reach out to, eventually millions of people, how they can actually achieve their dream physique, lean down, build strength, build muscle while enjoying life, and just being able to see how incredible that is. Because once you have your fitness life handled, everything else in life really comes together. Because when you're struggling to have a really good body, everything else kind of it gets affected negatively. But like when you're owning the gym, you're getting stronger, you're maintaining a low body fat, or you're dropping fat, well, then you have that fitness life handled, and that gives you so much confidence to take to other areas of your life. But some people do well, but they're obsessed with it, and all they do is gym, eat every 2 hours, and who wants that? This is supposed to enrich your life, not consume it. Exactly. When you have it balanced into the background of your life while you're still making progress, dude, it's incredible. So I want to help share my approach, which works gangbusters, with more and more and more people, and it's been growing. It's been hitting this huge snowball effect. But I want to kind of keep that rolling. We got
the same drive with that, because unless you're a pro bodybuilder and you're getting endorsed and this is your livelihood, it has to be a balance, and you have to be able to live your life. You have to be able to take care of your kids. You got to be able to go to work. You got to be able to enjoy some cocktails with your friend, and you have to really enjoy your fitness, because it's ultimately your life, right?
Right. But what's really interesting?
What's that?
Dude, I couldn't get lean when I made an obsession. When I was obsessed with it, I couldn't get lean. I couldn't achieve my results. So it's because willpower is a finite resource. We only have so much. So even if you're doing the same stuff, like the same diet, the same workout, but if you're just always thinking about it, obsessed, focused on that goal, this and that, you're going to burn yourself out. And then you're just going to – because dieting is one of those things where the training is the easy part. Well, let me just say that. Training is easy to go to the gym and work out for an hour 3 days a week, which is the best approach. You don't need to work out more than that. As a natural, 3 days a week is going to allow you to make better strength gains. That's the easy part. The hard part is learning how to eat at a deficit to get really lean. But if you're obsessed with it, you're going to cheat. You're not even cheat, because there's no such thing as cheating, but you're going to go over your calories and your macros. And you're just going to feel, and it's just going to ruin you. But when you're able to enjoy it and have balance in your life, then the time flies by while you're leaning down. If all you're doing is thinking about my next meal, you're going to kill yourself trying to stick to a caloric deficit for months.
So how were you able to break through from complete obsession to it just being secondhand and just being a part of your life? How were you able to do that?
For me, it was realizing that having a low body fat or having a chiseled aesthetic physique isn't the key to happiness. Because I think naturally, when we set goals, we kind of project our fulfillment into the future. We tell ourselves, you know what, I'll be so happy, when I'm 6% body fat. And so that just makes the process so freaking slow. Because what we're telling ourselves is we're not enough now. We can't be happy now. And so then it's just a chronic obsession to get there, which is meaningless. Because we want the journey to be fun and enjoyable. And so once you tell yourself, it takes time. It's not that easy. But when you tell yourself, you know what, I'm enough now. When you can have that acceptance for yourself right now, and then just work on making progress, but you're not making the progress to make yourself complete. You're already complete. And then that's part of it. The other part is making fitness a secondary goal. Fitness should not be your primary goal in life. This is what I talk about in the video on my YouTube page. Fitness should not be your primary goal in life. If it is, it's going to kill you. It's going to take up so much mental energy, and it's going to feel like this absolute just battle trying to get lean. But if your primary goal is something else, maybe it's building your business, maybe you're involved in some different maybe you're working on your career, or you're in school, make something else your primary goal.
Yeah.
Maybe whatever it is, whatever speaks to you. Maybe you're really into some sport. Hopefully, your primary goal is not World of Warcraft. That wouldn't be that wouldn't fit with the podcast here. But whatever your primary goal is. And I think guys want to improve in a few different areas. I think they want to become great, build their fitness up. I think they want to build a successful business or career, and they want to have a great dating life. I mean, that's my interpretation.
Yeah, we want to have it all.
We want to have it. You're right. You guys want to have it all. So don't let fitness become everything, because a lot of people they obsess and they fantasize over having six-pack abs, and then fitness becomes everything. And it's like, whoa, okay, cool, okay, it's good to be into fitness, but there's women too. There's building your business too. So don't let fitness become everything.
So you would say that was your biggest challenge that you had to overcome, was that mindset on that, hey, I'm trying to get lean and fitness is everything.
That was the psychological component of it, yes, for sure. But there's also the process of it.
Yeah, talk on that a little bit, because that's where the rubber meets the road. Like
what works as far as achieving nutrition or fitness goals.
Let's go with this, because I know you and I are both activists onto the intermittent fasting as a lifestyle. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on intermittent fasting and why you think that's the way to go.
The reality is most of the nutrition information you hear is sublimated to marketing, aka it's absolute bull. And there's only a few things you have to do if you're trying to build an amazing physique. There's only a few things. One of which is you got to get stronger in the gym. When you get stronger, your body's like, oh, I need to build muscle. There's not that many 315-pound bench pressers that have small chests. In fact, there's none. That's one of them. You got to get stronger, and you have to. And if you don't have a low body fat, if you have some fat to lose, you have to eat a caloric deficit. That's the only way your body loses fat. It's to be in a caloric deficit. It's the law of thermodynamics. There's literally no arguing this. I know a lot of fitness, quote-unquote, gurus like to pretend calories don't matter. But no, this is the reality. We have 50 years of research to support it. And even you can look back at concentration camps or whatnot, prisoners of war, and see what happens when someone is underfed. They lose weight. The metabolism doesn't crash. We lose weight. We have a certain amount of energy we need to meet. And if we don't meet it, we lose weight. And sure, if you go chronically low in calories, well, the reason why someone that won't lose weight if they go chronically low in calories is because they can't stick with it. They'll lie to themselves and say, no, I only eat 1,200 calories a day, but it's bullshit. Yeah. We know this. But so you shouldn't go low in calories. It's impossible. I would kill myself trying to do that. But I'm honest with myself. I'm like, you know what? Okay, maybe I did it 2 days a week, but the other 5 days I ate 3,000. So I did not do 1,200 calories. Don't do 1,200 calories if you listen to this. Unless you're 130 pound, or unless you're 100-pound male, which is unlikely. But yes, to answer your question, intermittent fasting makes dieting so fun, because if you can, let's say you wake up at 8 o'clock. Well, if you can get used to pushing your first meal effortlessly, literally to the point where fasting is so easy and enjoyable with some different strategic tips. But if you can get to the point to doing that and so breaking your first meal at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, well now, maybe it's 2,000 calories. Well, now eating 2,000 calories per day is fun. Because you're only eating twice a day, maybe a small snack here and there. That's fun. But if you're eating 2,000 calories per day over 4, 5, 6 meals, that sucks, man. That sucks. And every time you eat a meal and you're not satisfied, you have to exercise willpower to not eat more, to not have to stop yourself from having more food. So intermittent fasting is a tool that will allow you to get lean effortlessly if done correctly. But there's also profound health benefits to fasting. For example, there's some research that shows that intermittent fasting actually has life extension benefits. It actually has a profound increase in growth hormone, which actually helps you preserve muscle protein while improving fat mobilization. So people think, oh, I'm fasting, I'm going to lose muscle. No, your body's smart. Your body's wired for survival. When you're fasting, your body's growth hormone levels going up, adrenaline's shooting up, and so you're actually going to have an increase in fat mobilization, and your muscle stores will be protected. Now, sure, if you fast for 3 days, that's an issue, but we're not talking about fasting for 3 days. We're talking about fasting until the first meal of the day, which should be about, anywhere from 4 to 8 hours after you wake up. So you wake up at 8, somewhere between 12 and 4 o'clock, you're looking at breaking your first meal. The benefits of fasting are massive.
I wrote a article on my blog about the benefits of intermittent fasting and the different types of intermittent fasting. And you go with the 16-8, 8-16, or have you ever tried the warrior fasting?
Yeah, so I don't do any of those styles. I think that using a window is obsessive because the reality is the benefits of fasting are simply just from not eating first thing in the morning, not having that first morning breakfast. In fact, pushing that first meal later into the day. And so the problem with like having a specific window, like an 8-hour window, is that we're human. We have lives, and it's not feasible to break our fast the same time every day and finish our last meal the same time every day. Mm-hmm. And the reality is some days you might be hungrier a bit earlier. Some days you might be hungrier a bit later. And so you should actually I think people should try and listen to their bodies a little bit. Have that rigidity, like have that structure, but also have that human element in mind. If you normally break, so I actually, some days I'll fast, 16 hours, some days it's 18, sometimes it's 14. But the key is I just try and push that first meal later into the day. And some days I'll break my fast a bit earlier. My little trick, which works incredible, is the whole idea with intermittent fasting. One of the huge benefits of it is getting that first meal later into the day. So what I'll do is I'll break my fast with an apple, which will stave off hunger for a couple more hours. So let's say you wake up at 8 o'clock and by 1 o'clock you're really hungry. Sure, have an apple. Then you might be full and satisfied until, well, not full, but you might have no hunger for the next couple hours. Then you have that first meal at 3 o'clock. And so, maybe some days you have the apple at 12, maybe other days you don't even need it, but listening to your body. And so not turning into a robot. And some days if you finish your last meal at 9 o'clock, well, what if you're out with friends, you can't get home, or you're at a movie, you can't get home until 10? Should you still eat that meal? Of course. But it doesn't, so people get like, oh, I didn't fast 16 hours, only did 15, or oh, I broke my fast too late. It doesn't matter. Just push that first meal later into the day and focus on hitting those calories and those macros. The macronutrients, and that's what matters most. So I don't believe in a window per se. And
it's a lifestyle that we're preaching here, because if you get off track today, or if you're not exactly how you were yesterday or per your regimen, then just hit your macros and focus on tomorrow. And tomorrow you'll come in and hit it on target, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So Greg, awesome. We're gonna kick into what I call the man up round. But first, let's take a moment to thank our sponsors. This session of the Conquer Manhood podcast is brought in part to you by InMotion Hosting. It's the web hosting service company that I use for Conquering Manhood. And in fact, it's the same one I use for all my online businesses. They have the fastest and most secure web hosting service around. They provide 24-hour technique support. Super important when your website goes down and you don't know what to do. I call them right up, and the problems are conquered on the spot. No pun intended. If you want to get a website, you need web hosting. Go to conquermanhood.com/hosting, HOSTING, to get up to 38% off your web hosting plan, plus a free domain name. And for going through my link, I also hook you up with the Conquer Manhood Hosting Power Pack for free. Just shoot me an email once you got on the plan, and I'll send you the Power Pack right on. Go to conquermanhood.com/hosting to learn more. This show is also brought to you by Conquer Manhood Gear. Check out the shop over at conquermanhood.com and rock a Conquer Manhood tee to represent your journey. Stay tuned to the end of the session to find out how you can get one for you and your lady for free in any color of your choice. Now, back to the show.
For me, because the reality is very, very, very few people in this world that can actually do that, and it's been something I've been working on for a long time, and so that was just proof that I could conquer really any physical, any physical pursuit.
Now, are you grabbing your wrist while you're doing these pull-ups?
No wrist grab.
That's the key. So kudos to you. What advice would you give to somebody who hasn't yet found their purpose?
I would say get out of your house, go somewhere new, maybe even go on a trip or something. Get away from your normal, typical environment. And forget about all your societal peer pressure and groupthink and whatnot, and what your family and friends are telling you what to do. And just think and just kind of be on your own and just kind of feel what do you want? What do you want for your life? You want to live your life. You want to live your life. You don't want someone else's life. What do you want? And just try and get in touch with the vision that you have for yourself. And like I said, make no small plans. How do you want your life to look? And then find a way to kind of create that. So if you don't have but at the same time, don't get I wouldn't get too obsessed, oh, I got to find my purpose. Oh, I got to find my purpose. Just work on, improve yourself, work on your fitness, work on this and that, and things will come into place. But I think actually Eckhart Tolle talks about how you have an inner and an outer purpose. Your inner purpose is really just to be here in this moment, to be present, to be chill. Right. So your inner purpose is just to go with the flow of life, not resist life, not resist the moment. And there's a beauty there. It's like when you learn to become present and, get away from your mental thought patterns, stop, dwelling on the past, stop projecting fulfillment into the future, and literally be here now, which is all there is. Like that's your inner purpose. That's like the true purpose. But your outer purpose is literally finding something that you have an intense joy for, and something that you are trying to achieve, essentially, which kind of creates enthusiasm. So when you have a joy for doing something, plus the added element of a goal that you're working towards, that's like your outer purpose. So find something that you love and something that you really have a goal with accomplishing. And maybe the first time doesn't work out, but try and work on that, I'd say.
Greg, most influential book you've read and why?
Funny enough, I kind of referenced it, but for me, the most influential book that I read was A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. It's taught me so much. Teachings kind of applies in this weird way to like everything, where every chapter you can kind of apply the knowledge to so many different things, which is really valuable, because a lot of books, you learn about stuff that kind of you rarely ever reference. But A New Earth, that kind of just teaches you about life and about the minds. And pretty much you'll have a deep understanding of people, because we're motivated by our egos. And when you understand the ego and how it works and how you can kind of transcend it at times, it's a huge advantage in life. So A New Earth is a really powerful book. If you haven't read it, I definitely suggest reading it. But I prefer to listen to the audiobook, which I find is more powerful at inducing that shift in consciousness.
Yeah, I'm all about audiobooks, and the Conquer Nation knows that they're all about audiobooks too. So if you want to master your ego, Conquer Nation, go to audiobooks.com/conquer to get The New Earth or a book like it for free. My gift to you. Nice. Excellent book referral there, Greg. So moving on, what advice would you give to a novice fitness dude who shares his knowledge but is limiting himself mentally because he thinks he's not an expert and he doesn't have enough to give?
So someone that wants to create a career in fitness but is like a novice level?
Yeah, right. And he's like, why is anybody going to listen to me? I'm a nobody. What advice would you give to this individual?
Dude, I can rip that mentality up. But it's like, let's pretend that you're the novice expert, okay? Just for the sake of this. So I would tell you, I'd be like, look, do you think you could help someone get in shape? Like, do you think you can, like, let's say you have a little brother. Do you think you can help him like build muscle or get lean, whatever his goal is? Right. Like, do you think you know enough about fitness to help that person achieve their results?
Yes, I do, Greg.
Yeah. Well, then then that's what you should be doing, because the reality is you don't have to, if you're going to start helping people, you don't have to be a massive expert, because you're not writing for your colleagues. You're not writing for other fitness experts. You're writing for the followers. You're writing for the people that you're trying to help. And most people know enough. Like, most people that have a passion for fitness, they know enough to really help people and guide people in the right direction. So the mindset that you have of saying, why should I talk about fitness? I'm not an expert, this and that. That's the mindset that's denying thousands of people of being able to achieve their goals, because you're not willing to put out the content to help them. So, and the reality is like, whatever, when I started blogging and doing YouTube videos, I was by no means an expert. I would actually be cringe if I watched some of the old stuff I put out years ago. But that's what you have to do. That's the way you learn, is you share. Like, that's probably the most powerful form of learning, is by sharing, is teaching. Teaching is a form of enhanced learning, if you think about it.
That was awesome, and that was perfect, and I'm sure that resonated with somebody in the Conquer Nation. Greg, here, my last question. This is a question that I ask all my guests, but I'd love to see your insight into it. What is your definition of a conquering man?
I would say someone that literally strives for improvement each and every week. Every week they're trying to improve themselves in some way, shape, or form. A conquering man is someone that, you see them a month later, a year later, they're on the rise. They're on that upward spiral of success. They're getting stuff done. They're not making excuses. They're not creating justifications for why they haven't created their business or achieved their goals or their fitness goals. A conquering man is someone that takes responsibility for everything in their life and works on seeing that progress. You don't have to be perfect. Perfection is not the goal. Progress is the goal. Getting one step closer every week.
It's all about the chase. I love it. A conquering man is a man on the rise. We never really attain perfection, but it's all about the chase, right?
Yeah. I mean, you could be You could be bench pressing 100 pounds, but if you're working up to 110 and then 120 and then 130 and you're progressing each month, then you're a conquering man. You don't have to be, elite. You just have to be on that rise.
That's beautiful. All right. Greg, you killed it. So thank you for coming on as our featured conqueror, for inspiring the conquering nation to be a better man through fitness. Before we wrap things up, leave us with some parting words of wisdom and let us know how we can get some of that Greek god fitness status that you teach on your site. And then tell us how we can connect with you, and then we'll say goodbye.
Right, man. Well, as far as building that Greek god physique, it comes down to, getting stronger on these key lifts that best support you and structuring the training in a way that allows that strength gain to ensue. In my Greek god programs at GreekGodProgram.com, and really the best way to reach me is my main hub, my main portal, if you will, is at Kinobody.com, Kino body.com. That's where I post my, my articles, my videos, my podcasts. I have links to my Facebook, my Instagram, my YouTube. And so the best place to go would be Kinobody.com. And if you guys want to stay up to date with me, I do like 1 or 2 really solid emails a week sharing, different stuff I've done and what I've been up to and, imparting some great tips. And I have a email list you can join. And if you just go to Kinobody.com, there's a physique survey to find out what you need to focus on to get to your physique goals. Once you join that, you'll be on the mailing list.
I'm going to encourage the Conqueror Nation to go out there. Greg's newsletter is awesome. His Facebook groups are awesome. He's genuine. He tells it how it is. No fluff. Here we go with Kinobody, baby. The Kinobody revolution. Greg, thanks for coming on, and you be the best, man.
Thanks, dude. It's been a pleasure to be on here. I appreciate it.
There you have it, Conqueror Nation. That's a wrap for session 005. If this is your first time with the Conquer Manhood podcast, let me invite you to the Big 8 giveaway. In celebration of the highly anticipated Conquer Manhood podcast, I partnered up with some of my favorite manly brands and services to give subscribers of this show some love and appreciation. Head over to conquermanhood.com/big8win, all one word, to learn more and to enter. This week's giveaway is a set of his and hers Conquer Manhood gear, t-shirt, and some stealth bracelets. One lucky winner will take away a Conquer Manhood tee for him and his lady and get some stealth bracelets as well. I want to highlight a review from one of the Conquer Nation's faithful, Timothy Masterson. He writes, "I'm so proud of my brother Jose and the podcast. I've started already implementing some of the lessons from session 002 and 3. This podcast is a must for all men." Thanks, Tim. I want to give you a shout out as well. So leave me an honest rate and review of the podcast, and next week maybe I'll be reading yours. Today's featured conqueror was Gregory O'Gallagher from Kinobody.com. Make no small plans while allowing fitness to enrich your life, but not consume it. Head on over to conquermanhood.com/005 to get the show notes with links to everything we discussed today, links to his website, his influential book for free in audio format, and how to enter the Big 8 giveaway as well. Stay tuned next week as we talk to the founder of Founder Magazine, the top entrepreneur magazine on deck right now. We talk about life, business, and even how to use Instagram to build your business. Make sure to subscribe to the Conquer Manhood podcast and never miss a show. Until next week, Conquer Nation, I'm your host, Jose Florencio. Command your legacy, take action, and conquer all.
Thank you for listening to Conquering Manhood. Now, it is time for you to conquer all. So take action. Head to conqueringmanhood.com and grab the 4 steps to conquering manhood, the ultimate guide, for free.